Welcome to Midweek Gaming. It's another fine Wednesday. It's been sunny all day in Britain. Well, that's where I live anyway. There's been no rain. Unfortunately, where Cerebral's living, it's been raining all day by the sounds of it.
What was that? Unfortunately, Cerebral's with. I heard that.
He likes the rain. Down in Africa.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Thanks for that.
It's starting to turn into karaoke already. Stubbs, you've gone quiet again. Come on. Chop, chop.
Oh, yeah, no. I'll start again. Welcome to Midweek Gaming. Thanks for coming by, everyone. If you want a great gamer picture or logo or artwork done by the graphic god, please go to www.xboxgamerpics.com. And if you'd like to check out an independent gaming website, please check out www.bg4ghub.com.
Welcome. And if you'd like to catch indie, or if you'd like to catch Animated Evil's OnlyFans. Oh no, sorry.
You only get to know that if you watch till the end.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't worry, it's a quick finish. He's not really that.
It sounds like you're a sub. Well, I think before we start, let's do a few shout-outs, don't we, Stubbs? Come on, get your bumming gear.
Godzilla Music, thanks for stopping by. D&D Gamer, excellent stream on the Indie World event earlier. It was a good stream. It was a good show in general. Good 20 minutes of games. We'll get into that in a bit. Welcome Telegonic. Welcome All Their Time. Thanks for stopping by. Who else we got in here? Welcome Flat from Green Pass Gaming. Welcome Back from the Dead. Welcome Murder Sessions, who turned up quite early in chat. Thanks for that. Welcome Pixel Slapper. He stopped off a while ago. He did. He says 09:30. He says it's 9:39, but it wasn't. It's obviously different. There's a time difference where he lives. He says in chat. Welcome Dragon Wolf. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, and Animated Evil stopping by in the chat. So, Cerebral Paul, how are you? And
good.
I can hear the lovely, relaxing rain in the background.
Yep, raindrops are pelting on my head.
Okay, it makes a lot of people fall asleep. You know, YouTube videos just of people listening to rain.
Yep.
There is.
That's
how you get your watch time up.
This is not a gentle rain. This is a typhoon. But,
That's how you get your Cerebral. If you want to get your YouTube channel up, you get them. Just make some streams that last 24 hours and a couple of images and some rain noises and just sit there racking in the watch time.
Yep. Just turn your camera towards the outside and walk away.
Yeah.
Come back in 48 hours' time. You'll be at about 2 million subs.
I know, it's funny how many people actually do that and watch that stuff. Speaking of subs, if you haven't subbed yet, I'm still trying to reach 100 just so I can have my own personal URL. So I'm at 57, I think. Get off your butts and go sub to my YouTube channel after the show. Hey, at least I said after the show this time.
Apparently you can multitask now.
Apparently my microphone's cracking.
It is
a little bit. You know what? I wonder why. For those in the chat who don't know, he spent the last 20 minutes on his soundboard making silly noises.
Well, he said it was a soundboard. Personally, I think he was just letting out his inner demon.
I've turned that off now. So. The Lighty Lad, thanks for stopping by. Am I still crackling? I don't know what else.
A teeny weeny bit.
Right, so I'm going to try something. Hopefully.
Wow, the likelihood I'm going to leave my like and bail out. Well, you better come back and watch later. That's all I'm saying.
Right. He's quickly. Well, whilst Stubbs is going for what he says is just a alternative fix, or basically a cup of tea. Speaking of cup of teas, let's speak to VJ. You're on the stream. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
Been a few weeks, VJ.
Yep. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you wonderfly. It's great to have you back.
Yeah, good. I thought Stubbs was cooking some crackling pork in the background or something.
I don't
Ooh.
know. He was messing around with that bloody soundboard and he's now ruined himself. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
Hello,
Well, speaking
I'm
of
wondering
devil.
if they're any better now. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
So
the crispy.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds like
The crispy coating sounds pretty good now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to see what people
I
think
know.
in chat. I don't know whether it's fixed it or not. I don't know.
Well, it does sound better.
Yeah.
But we were speaking to VJ. So VJ, go ahead. How have you been, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Looking forward to the show. Thanks for having me back on. And yeah, looking forward to getting on with it.
Mm. So next we have our what was it? Your second favourite person, Stubbs? It's animated.
Wow.
After you,
Hello.
Cerebral. Obviously, you're number one.
Oh,
I didn't want to
good.
say it. No, sorry. You know.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies who were in the chat as well, and also gentlemen and ladies in the chat. So good to be here today, having some serious technical issues my side. Audio keeps going on and off, and I've decided I'm going to keep my camera off just so I can not lag out at points. But other than that, I'm ready to go.
Good
Thanks
to
for having
hear.
me, gentlemen.
Mm.
Thanks for leaving your camera off. I mean, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Stubbs. You're back.
Yeah,
Now. It's your turn.
Stop.
I know.
We're on the air.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, where we are. Who spoke?
Right, okay.
I don't know.
Okay, Cerebral.
Everybody has spoke. So, yep.
What have you been playing, sir?
That's it.
That's it. Let's see. I've been playing. I got back into Senua's Hellblade. Senua's on the PC. Found out I still get lost in that game. There's a reason I never finished that game. But I'm working on it again. Let's see. I played some really quickies because I am less than 500 points from getting my first 100K gamer score. Not a big deal, but it is kind of a goal.
Nice.
So,
Wow, that's nice.
Very good. It's good.
That is.
And then, of course, I've been playing a lot of Outriders. I haven't had near the problems everybody else has had. So I know Outriders had problems, but luckily I haven't been one of the ones to suffer from it. Aside from the general, the cover system sucks. This part sucks. That part sucks. And a lot of screaming and yelling. But that's gaming in general for me. That's nothing new. You know, that's not like I go in there and I lose all my gear like some people have, which would really suck.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly wouldn't
Oh,
play it again. after
Taylor
that.
Gonic's in the chat. Oh, it's wounded him now, I bet. Oh, he's not happy. Taylor Gonic's been one of them people that's been sadly affected by the wipes. He is.
Mm.
Oh,
really-
that
he
sucks.
was-
Yeah, because he was really
loving
hyping
it.
that up. Yeah,
Really
he was
loving it.
really.
You'll
Yeah, he
you'll
was
get it
one of
back,
the ones
Joe.
that was-
You'll get it back.
They're working
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
They know you're upset, so they're working on it. Yeah.
You personally.
Yeah. Sent him a
But
message.
apart from that, you've actually been quite enjoying it. Is that you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I still don't quite get the story, but I really don't care. But yeah, it's different enough. Each fight is different enough. Each area is different enough that I'm enjoying it as I get more powers and stuff. And I admit, okay, tier 1 most of the time, because at this point, I'm just trying to have fun. I think part of it is I'm not in the mood to sit there and get frustrated with a game at this point. You know, like,
That's fair enough. If you're enjoying it,
And
you're
it's
enjoying
nice.
it. Shouldn't matter.
and it's not just that game. It's any game. If I start to get a little, and then I'm like, okay, I need to not do this right now because it's just putting me in.
Yeah,
a
well,
bad
I've
place.
been the same. I've dropped it a couple of tiers when I got a bit too frustrated or kept dying too much. I dropped it. Actually, yeah, I dropped it a tier. It's it doesn't matter, does it? Let's face it. As long as you're enjoying yourself,
Yeah.
that's the main
Yeah,
crux of it.
and
It is,
part of it is
yeah.
I want to I especially when I'm streaming it, I don't want to have people sit there and watch me do the same thing 6, 7, 10 times. You know, 'cause I
Not Dark
understand
Souls.
that part of my whole thing is being a disabled gamer having issues, but part of the resolving of that issues is going, I give up. I'm gonna drop it down to stupid level. You know.
I still love it. I mean, I was listening to NLG last week. I mean, and
Yeah.
great job on NLG. You fit in
thank
really well there. It was a really good show. It was. I love the fact because Mike brought up, shouts to Mike who's in chat, that time you were on Nuke Nukem show and you had to call someone out in chat for laughing at you for not being able to play a certain game on a certain difficulty or giving up, and then you basically told him. Then he felt bad in chat for doing it, but you shouldn't be doing it anyway, should you? Regardless, you know.
Yep, that's the way I always feel that way. Just like when some people say, you know, I know some people that are, you know, you mention certain games and because they can't play it for whatever reason, be it because, you know, that game is stupid, I hate that. It's like, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but I try to never ever do that. Just because I can't play a game doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means I can't play a game for whatever reason. You know, there is a difference between the game is glitchy, the game is buggy, and there's a difference between what I can't do just because of me. Now, I can complain a game is glitchy and buggy and doesn't work right, but that's different than this game is stupid simply because I can't complete it.
Well, that's a good thing, because I think the way you look at it as, you don't slag the game off. You just say I can't complete it, and you move on to a different game because you can't do it. But there is some people that want the game changing because of that reason, and you don't go that route. You know, you can't change every game, can you? You know. No,
and I never expect to be able to play every game. Would it be nice? Sure, but there are just some things that are built in such a way that like, I'm never going to be really good at racing games. I don't care what they do, because if they make it to the point to where I can do Forza with no problem and win races, then everybody else is going to be using those same tools, and then I'm back to square one.
Yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
But I think that, to be fair, having the options regardless is still a good thing.
Absolutely.
I think that's the fundamental thing. It is, you know, because, you know, as those will say, you know, it's like you can put it on easy, and if you find it too easy, you might think, well, this is way too easy, and you might raise it. Where if you find it too hard and there's no option to drop it down, what have you got to do? There's nothing you can do, is there?
I think the other thing is too, and I don't remember where this came up, but sure, you can make a game so easy that anybody can do it. Hey, Lupa, and but for competitive purposes, you put in there that, you know, you can't be using it at this level for competitive purposes. They have guidelines or certain tools that they may put into the game to make it so that, you know, that somebody like me can at least appear competitive. You put it in there so there's a little marker on the screen that says, hey, I'm using these settings, and that's fine, because it is gonna be a fine line between doing what's good for me and then, like, everybody tries to, how can I explain this? Well, like, let's say the system for me, for disability and things like that, for getting things from the state and whatever, or getting assistance, people take advantage of those systems, so those systems are made harder and harder for me to use. Same thing is
I agree.
Same thing in the gaming. Same thing in gaming. You know, yeah, you can make it easier for me, but people take advantage of, you know, and then they think they're big bad, and it's like, dude, you have no reason to be doing this.
Exactly. It's like back in Britain years ago when Labour in power, back in when I was a kid. Benefits were that easy to manipulate. Now, with the Tory government we're in now, if you really want help, you have to fight tooth to nail, even if you qualify for it. They don't make it easy, because in the past people have just took advantage of it, and it's a shame. It is.
I would say I should never have to prove again and again that I'm a lifetime disabled person.
Well, exactly. Did you magically
never going to change?
You know, I woke up this morning and I'm walking, and there's nothing wrong with me. You know,
trust me.
You know
if
what
that
I mean?
ever happened, I would tell everybody. You know.
I know exactly. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say, VJ?
I was going to say it's not tooth and nail, it's tooth and claw, isn't it?
Yeah,
well, it is because my wife had to be off for a bit because she's doing well now, but even for her to get ESA, she had to fight to get ESA money. It ain't even big money, but she's back at work now. She's doing all right, but even to get that, it was like, well, you need a face-to-face interview. It was like, well, no, because you're not doing them. And then on the phone they go, oh, we're not doing them because of COVID. And then she got a letter 2 weeks later saying, oh, you've got it. You know, but on the phone you have to be a dick to you. you know.
Yeah.
But you know,
Oh, it's amazing because honest truth. I've had cerebral palsy all my life. I've been in the system, forever. And when I went to get my coverage re-upped a couple few years ago, oh, we have to have a face-to-face. You have to go see a doctor so they can verify that you're still physically disabled.
oh no, it's terrible. That
Really?
you know, it's but what is it? Probably, I don't know the statistics, but I would say one person every 20 million people might miraculously be cured overnight.
Yeah.
It's a miracle, if you ask me. It would be, wouldn't it?
All these loops are in there because people take advantage of the systems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sad.
For me to
That's
even
it.
get a disabled placard, I have to go through all kinds of hoops to get a placard that says, I'm a disabled person that goes in the car. But because people have abused that system, and I realize we're talking about something different than video games, but it's the same thing with accessibility issues.
Humanity's
accessibility
his
things in
basic
video
instinct
games.
is still there, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And because I would love to, give us the ability to use those tools, and I would love a a physically disabled person's esports thing, because then I would be competitive on an equal standing. We'd all have the same settings. We'd all have the same, and it would be cool. But
And is there not a esports dedicated to the disability community?
not that I'm aware of, but then again,
I've not heard of it.
Seriously, wow. There you go, Cerebral. You
Cerebral,
are now
mention it
president of the you're now president of the first disabled.
You could
sports
mention it to
community.
a certain person in one of your chats one day. See what he says.
Yeah.
Not saying
Okay.
who, but you know
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
actually,
know
to be
who.
fair, that's a very good idea. I don't see why that shouldn't be why it shouldn't be a thing.
They have Special Olympics for the other stuff. Why not?
Exactly.
Have it for
It's
esports,
true. You can get an esports visa now. You can actually. So why not?
I think you could be onto I wouldn't say a winner, or a money spinner, as it's well known
Yeah.
over here. But it's
But
let's
it's
face
something
it.
that- When you're talking about full inclusion, it's something that needs to be put out.
It is. Yeah. You could be part of the first ever one. Hang on, what's that big esports team in Call of Duty? The Green Wall. Who are they? Optic Gaming. You could be the leader of the
yeah.
Optic Gaming team. You could be. But it's a great idea. Indie gamers agreeing as well. Yeah.
Well, to be
it's
honest
a
with you,
good idea.
esports that's probably was it the one. It's actually currently one of the fastest growing
Right.
gaming aspects.
And
You
could have different divisions like players without sight, because I know a few of those.
Yep.
There's a guy out here named Sightless Combat that some of you all know, and
indeed.
he is 100% blind and he plays, and he plays well.
I've actually
You
played
know.
with him. Such a good dude.
Yeah,
Really? Wow, that's
yeah.
incredible. That
Yeah.
is.
he man. There's sometimes when he's playing Gears of War that he's unstoppable.
Really?
It's like
Yeah.
Now that impresses me. Wow.
He absolutely decimated me at Killer
Is it to
Instinct
do
many a
with?
time.
Is it to do with sound? You can hear the sound
Yeah.
movements. Is that it?
Well, they
Okay.
have certain games have certain sound cues and things that are that they can set up so they can hear, so they get a sense of where something is and how far away it is, and they attune their hearing to totally get used to watching that. Yeah, if you've ever get a chance, pull up his Twitch channel
I'm gonna.
and
I'm
watch some
impressed.
of his stuff. Yeah, he is actually. Yeah, it's amazing to watch him. Now there are also times where he also has, like they do the shared controller thing, where he'll have somebody helping control his controller, or they'll be like, okay, a little to the left, a little to the right, and it's really interesting to see what they do. But there's a whole segment of people out there that can. That they should be doing events for. And
There you go.
And Sightless is in the UK, by the way, guys. He's actually
Yep.
and he's part of the I forget what they call it, but he's actually part of a group of people that is for gaming for disabled people, for accessibility. So
Oh, is that special effect?
Special Olympics,
it could be-
Special Olympics Japan.
So Murder Sessions
right,
is
okay.
saying so. Japan had an esports tournament last year.
Right,
I'm guessing he's meaning in reference to what we're talking about. I'm guessing.
right. Special
Yeah, it must
SO,
be.
Special
Yeah.
Olympics, Special Olympics. And for those who don't know, the murder sessions is is what is your actual hippie something? Sandy the hippie on
It is.
the other
Yeah, it
things,
is. Yeah.
He's actually a friend of mine. He's actually a friend of mine. So
I don't see why not. Push it hard.
yeah,
Why
I
not?
don't.
Yeah,
Dude, I
that
wouldn't
would
even know.
maybe that
I
would be.
wouldn't
I
even
tell you
know where
what,
to start.
if
I
that
wouldn't even know where
happened,
to start. I wouldn't.
that
even
would
know
be
where to start.
massive. If that
I wouldn't
happened for
even know where to
inclusion.
start.
Well, let's look at it logically. How about we do a shout out to anyone in the chat? If you know someone or you have any help that could potentially help Cerebral even remotely look at where to go and start this up, please
Cerebral
contact him. Yep.
Murder Sessions has said they don't call it the Special Olympics. Jeez, he just said.
He can kiss my butt. Okay, I will call it what it's called.
You're the creator, so you can do exactly what you want.
Yeah.
But failing that, yeah, if anyone in the chat has any idea or can point Cerebral in a particular way to move this forward, let's try and make it happen. Let's try and do something, start it off. Why not? What can go
Yeah.
wrong? Nothing if you don't try. Well, there's nothing if you, exactly, nothing.
Yep. Yep, there you go. Now that I've taken over the whole show.
Well, no,
Next.
it was a good topic to talk about. Really,
Right,
it's something I wanted to talk about for a while, and it's a good one. I never thought
And your ears perked up with gears. That's what it really was.
that really impressed me. I've really got to go and watch this guy play.
Yeah, he really piped up. Then he's like, "Oh crap, really? Cheers."
Exactly. Yeah. You noticed, didn't you? The interest went over to 300% that moment that his gears was mentioned.
Yeah,
it's-
you're
it's-
right.
It's not just gears either. I mean, he absolutely decimated me at Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really?
decimated. I
Nice.
couldn't even get a hit. Yeah.
Wow.
He is such. It's hard to believe when you play with him, but yeah, he's blind and he's such a. Check him out. Such a great guy. Such a nice fella to talk to and everything.
Yeah,
And he is awesome. It's been a long time since I've played with him. To be fair, I might have to reach out and say hello.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, he is in the UK, so he's in your guys' time zone. So a lot of his streams are around the times that you guys are around. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
We should try. What we do is you can try and get him on the podcast.
Could do that too. I mean, he'd be more than willing to come
Yeah.
over here, dude.
With
Yep.
I think that would be a very good.
That sounds
You
like
and
a good
you and
idea.
him, Paul, Cerebral. You and him would be a good mix. I feel.
Yep. Yeah, because we come at this stuff from different angles. He comes at it from a player without sight. I come at it with a player without brains. No, but yeah, we actually cross paths a lot because of that. We're both Xbox Ambassador community champions. We're both very high profile in that program. A lot of it because we're both disabled in different ways, and we've chosen to take that path. But yeah, I'm sure he would be more than happy to come on. Stubbs or anybody else, if you're interested in finding him, if you look up Sightless Combat on Twitter, he's there, and
Okay.
I follow him.
Yeah.
So.
I will. I'll look it up. Sightless Combat. Okay. Everyone else should be following him and checking him out as well.
Yeah, we'll try and get him on.
Yeah, we will.
It's combat with a K as well, isn't it, Paul? If I remember correctly.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a good topic. There was a lot of people in the chat actually agreed that they enjoyed listening to the topic. So it is an important one. It is.
Mm-hmm.
No, I never thought about esports though. But if that was to ever happen, Paul, that'd be massive. That
Yeah,
would.
because
I'm telling you.
I've always felt, because I never really got into esports, and why? Because I can't compete. There's no, if a friend of mine's into it, sure, but there's no really to draw me in there going, hey, I can do that. It may sound weird, but
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good idea, and if we can start it off or even get the ball rolling, let's do it.
Oh,
Exactly.
actually, and there is a British thing, and I'm going to put a link in our private chat so you can drop it in the main one. That Sandy just sent me.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Oh,
Well, just because I don't have rights to post links.
I thought you had. Say hi in the chat, and I'll make you a mod.
Okay, hang on. There, I just dropped it.
yes, that was a good topic. I might ask removable. I think I just might move on and ask people what they were playing at the end of the show now. I reckon that might be the idea. I reckon. So let's make cerebral mod. Where is it? There we go.
You know what's going to happen? You'll make a mod, and then cerebral will kick out. He'll kick Stubbs out.
He's a moderator now. So just before we get on to the next topic, a few more people have came in. Welcome Elk Dude. Welcome That Mama Rocks. Goat Force Gaming. Luke Steele. Who else we got? Let's go a bit of a chat.
Yeah, Shizno, this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Mystico.
Is Shizno Elite there? Shizno Elite. I'm here.
Yeah,
Welcome, Shizno.
He complimented my background, which was a artwork of Elk Dude, by the way. Elk Dude did me a big favor.
It looks nice. It really does look nice. Yeah. Art form to make and get it to fit YouTube.
Yep.
You need to know what you're doing. You do.
Yeah, it looks really good, man.
It does look really good. It does. Dragon Yobi, welcome. So this week, this came out on the 13th of April. This did, and it's yesterday then. Sony invests another 200 million in Epic Games. Now, when I first seen this, it was Mr. Tushi that suggested it, and when I looked it up, I posted everyone the wrong link. As Animated Evil pointed out to me, this is an article from last year. So thanks for that. And then he found me the current article, and it seems that they've invested another 200 million into Epic Games. Let's have a look at the article. Sony has invested another 200 million into Epic Games as part of a 1 billion funding round. Epic Games announced today. Over a dozen investors contributed towards the funding round, which valued Fortnite developer at $27.7 billion. That's over 10 billion more than Epic Games' estimated value at the time of Sony's major investment last year. So that's quite an. I'm not going to go exactly straight into it, the main article, because although everyone's saying PlayStation ain't doing a lot, but it's still a big investment into an ever-growing company, especially with the way Fortnite's going and the Unreal Engine, especially with that nice Unreal Engine 5 coming out maybe later this year. I think it's a wise investment, because I know our good friends Tencent are heavily invested into Epic Games. I believe they own 40 or 48% of the company now. Serious influence over the company they've got. But yeah, on to VJ. Have you got any thoughts on this topic?
I'll have to go first, do I?
If you'd like to.
We've missed you, mate. Come on.
We have missed you. The chat's missed you. People do ask when you're not on, where's VJ? They do miss people like Indie Gamer and all sorts of people always asking where's VJ?
That's nice. Look, I'm not on any sort of expert on the matter, but so it's just sort of a layman's perspective, and I guess there's just a couple of things. I think an investment from a company taking a sort of minority shareholding, I guess, is a future hedge, right? Hedging bets. In this case, I think Sony is hedging a bet, if you like, in the obvious outlook that Epic is being primed, I suppose, for a public offering or an IPO at some point in the future, especially given its value right now. I think what was you saying, Mr. Stubbs, that Sony, and a dozen others investors had invested another $1 billion or something, right, as a second round of funding, only 9 months, right, since the last one.
Yes, $1 billion, yeah, well, it's worth $1 billion more, yeah.
Yeah, and in that time, I think last year it was valued at 17.9, and now it's up to 29 billion, and I'm not really quite sure how that works or what they've done in the 9 months to sort of achieve that kind of valuation increase. So I'll definitely take that with a pinch of salt. But again, we don't know, right? We're sort of like looking into the goldfish part, and things aren't always necessarily clear to us here on the outside. But having Sony, this is from Epic's point of view, having as part of your sort of, I don't know, investment consortium is a huge and significant plus, especially since Sony are known for being, I'm not talking about PlayStation here, just Sony as a corporation, are known for being very thorough and thoughtful before they invest, extremely prudent, I would say as well, and I'd add to that. And on Sony's part, they seem to be making quite a few of these sorts of minority investments, predominantly across Asia. I don't know if there's any others in the US other than Epic, but the credibility of Sony and the awareness of its brands on a commercial and consumer level is an important aspect of any future company's prospectus or plan or ambition, as and when they decide to go public. In terms of the benefits for Sony and its PlayStation, I don't know. I don't put too much stock into that. And I started thinking that way. But in terms of PlayStation receiving any sort of major advantage or specific treatment in its relation with Epic going forward, other than what we know at the moment, I'm not sure. Which is they've been working closely together on Sony, on PS5 storage architecture. That's all I've really seen, and that Epic chose to showcase the Unreal 5 via demo initially designed or showcased for the PS5. But as I say, due to sort of ongoing specific working relationships, I'd have to caveat that the engine is cross-platform, right, as far as we know. So
it is, yes.
And it is what it is. So Sony's. But the important thing to remember, I remember a couple of years ago there was a Sony investor relation meeting, and Sony's, I think 50% in 2018 or 2019, something like major revenue came from 10 or 12 games not owned by Sony. And Fortnite was definitely one of the games that contributed a considerable amount of revenue to PlayStation's success in terms of its financials. So at some point out there, I think some may say that Sony studios don't really use Unreal 5, and only Days Gone comes to mind. As Unreal is predominantly used by Xbox game studios, but more and more. However, I think it's easy to forget that many of Sony's third-party exclusives that are in the works do use Unreal, and many Japanese publishers as well. And I think that Final Fantasy is a really good case in point. And add to that, of course, there's dozens of indie games designated or earmarked for PlayStation in terms of some sort of exclusivity, as well as many games that are there for ID or Xbox. They also employ either Unity and again Unreal. So it's not as if the Sony hardware format is devoid of any games that use Unreal. But if I were to hazard a guess, I think the best and obvious move or outcome for Sony would be to ensure the future years of marketing that surrounds the upcoming Unreal Engine 5 from Epic is in conjunction with and markets and showcases itself in alignment with the PS5, as they've already done with the demo that they showed. And they should do it for the PS5, regardless of the fact that the machine is cross-platform, right? It's all about perception. It's the sort of thing, like the marketing rights that platform holders seem to lock down quite often for specific titles with major publishers, with Activision for Call of Duty with Sony, and then Xbox with Valhalla and Cyberpunk, etc. So I think that this marketing move in terms of value, reach, and perception is going to be important for Sony going up against Xbox this time around, who are obviously in the news for the right reasons at the moment, and are proving to be really aggressive. But again, Sony may not be able to outspend Xbox, but certainly you would be an idiot to think that the Japanese corporation that has sort of managed to turn itself around from the brink of creative and commercial bankruptcy 8 years ago to being the most successful it's ever been as a corporation can't or won't or are unable to outsmart Xbox. And I think that's something definitely to keep an eye on. I've spoken at length how I see Sony's position and tactics in the face of Xbox as a seemingly aggressive opponent this time around. Again, it's important to remember it's not Sony or Nintendo's first rodeo. I think that right now, is so early on in this current gen, it's just that the nonsense that I've been reading on Twitter. I don't know why I do it. I'm just torturing myself. I think the burden of truth still firmly sits squarely on Xbox's shoulders. And lastly, I would say, and again, sort of probably coming back to earth because I've just gone off into the twilight zone, haven't I, for the last 10 minutes? Going back to the topic that you were going to talk about in terms of E3 coming up and so on and so forth, I perhaps expect Sony and Epic to have something smart and creative to showcase, given the UE5 solution is releasing for, as far as I remember, and as you just mentioned, Mr. Stubbsand, at the end of the year. So it would be a pertinent point in time to showcase games and how far that technology's moved on. Because I think, I don't remember when the showcase was. I think it was at least a year ago, right? They showed
it was, but if you remember, everyone was saying that the demo they showed off wasn't a game; it was a tech demo, and everyone laughed. And actually, that is a real game being released.
Yeah,
it's coming
playable.
out.
As far I didn't know that. I mean,
I can't remember the name of it, but it was unveiled. It got a name, and I can't remember. It's an actual game, and everyone laughed, saying that's not a game; it's just a demo. It will never come out, and it is coming out. It's being developed.
I remember
also,
that.
Can I speak to something real quick that he said? You know, Sony, this isn't their first rodeo. Blah blah blah. This is going to reach on another topic that we talked about in our thing before the show, but it came out yesterday. You know, their big announcement that you can now do external drives on the Sony, but with limitations. It doesn't seem like they've still got, you know, it may not be their first rodeo, but the bronc they're riding seems to have a broken leg. That cowboy thing.
I think
it seems like they're not quite there yet. I still hold that the PS5 was not and is not ready to be released.
Yeah, but they're hedging it. One thing Vijay is saying is hedging their bets with the marketing. Marketing is where they're really being aggressive. It may be okay that this generation are likely to
but they're marketing to their fanboys, because anybody who really knows what they're looking at and pays attention goes, yeah, this thing still ain't ready for prime time.
There's still a load of people out there right now who potentially hasn't got, you know, a PlayStation, or, you know, at the moment could be umming and ahhing regarding the Switch. Right now, if they can get some amazing tech demos, it will hold their fan base.
I think that the issue here is that we're so early in the generation, and it does seem like Sony doesn't have his act together. But I can't speak to that because I don't own a PS5, so I would rather have a PS5, try it. And
I understand that, but by following the news that they're releasing, this isn't. This is from them. This isn't from Xbox fanboys. No. This is stuff they're saying. Here's the stuff we're doing. Oh, by the way, but here's the parts that won't work. Wait, what? You know?
Yeah,
it's like you can now add one single hard drive to it, but your old games, you can't load it on there. And when you install a new game, you got to install it to the new console. Then you got to move it over to the old one. Then you got to move it back. Like,
look,
really?
I can't speak to that. I know it's a topic for today, so I don't want to touch on it too much. But just to finish up on what I think in terms of this particular move, I think it's an affordable move for them.
I guess for me, I just see the whole bit. You know, you're focused, and it's nothing. You're focused on this move, which is a good move. But I kind of see the whole picture and go, you know.
And my point is that the whole picture isn't clear. We're too early on in the generation to make. You know, sort of. I can only speak on what I can see of the picture. Yeah, exactly. I see that. And I'm just saying, you know what, the picture's only partially painted. We need to see more before we can make that decision. But I would agree with you. The fact that some of the things that they're doing doesn't seem in tandem with what I'm trying to portray about what they're doing. But I am speaking specifically towards this point, which is to do with Epic and Sony. And just to finish off, will it be? You know, I just think they just need to be forthright and present, and whatever they do it together in some sort of abstract tangent-esque alignment of sorts. And I think it's important for Sony because, you know, we've pointed out, their acquisitions in the gaming space haven't been that mind-boggling, right? Other than the 200 million that they paid for Insomniac, right? Again, which is a smart move,
right? And I'll speak more to the other topic later. But I thought, to me, they kind of work together. But you know, that's just the way I think. You know?
Yep. So those are my thoughts, Stubbs.
No, you bring up very valid points. Regardless, investment in Epic Games is very wise. I don't know why Microsoft haven't made no investments into Epic Games. I couldn't tell you. Maybe because they couldn't buy the entire company. Maybe that's more their style. They don't not buying shares. You know, they wouldn't be able to buy the entire company because Tencent owns a majority, very big stake in it anyway. So if anyone suggests, "Oh, Microsoft, let's buy Epic," it's not going to happen. You know,
yeah,
it's not. But no, frankly, very good points there, VJ. You had. Yeah. Animated Evil. Have you got any thoughts on this topic?
Yes, a couple.
That's such a polite way. Yes, I do. Jolly good show.
I do. Well, that's just me, isn't it? That's just the way I am.
Yep.
I had a look on Epic Games' actual website where they made their announcement. I went beyond looking at the articles on Twitter and things like that. And there's only 2 quotes on there. One's from Tim Sweeney, who's the CEO and founder of Epic Games. Usual flim-flam saying it's awesome. But the other one I thought was really interesting. And it was from the president and CEO of Sony, Kenichiro Yoshida. And I'm sure I've butchered his name somewhere.
That sounds right, Hunter. I can't.
If I've butchered it, I apologise. But yeah, so Kenichiro Yoshida. And he says, and I'm going to take a little excerpt out of it. Where is it? I've got it up on my screen. We are excited to strengthen our collaboration and bring new entertainment experiences to people around the world. I strongly believe that this aligns with our purpose to fill the world with emotion through power, creativity, and technology. Now, what I think that is alluding to a little bit is the fact that they've already put games on PC. I think it's a little bit alluding to with this extra money they've put in that they're going to start launching their games through the Epic Store on PC, and to be able to log into your PS account on there, a lot like what Microsoft does with PC with the Windows Store, and it's everywhere. They've obviously Sony have seen this, and where else better to do it than the
Epic Storefront.
Epic Store, yeah, Epic Storefront.
It's a great idea. It is.
Wouldn't want to go
They
into
get
the
some
Windows.
revenue out of it as well, I suspect.
Do you know what I mean? And as well, that offers up as well a lot of, because they've got a lot of internet infrastructure. That offers up a lot of cross-play with PS4, PS5, and PC games across the board. If they've got a multiplayer centric game and all 3 can do cross-play on the PS,
It still feeds them into their bank as well.
And that's what I'm thinking they're sort of investing in, along with what VJ said about the engine builds and things like that. If they can get the engine from Epic 6 months earlier than anybody else, they're onto a winner, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Just for investing, we've give you 200 million. How much? Well, it's 400 now, isn't it? How much time can you give us to have with this engine before our competitors have it? So there you go. That's my thoughts. Other than what VJ said, and I agree with both of you guys. Yeah, that's what I take out of that little.
No, it's a great point of view, because that's behind. They won't tell you, but behind the scenes that could be happening. It could be part of their investments. Because to get an edge, because Coalition Studios absolutely love the Unreal Engine, and a lot of the Xbox studios love the Unreal Engine. And to be honest, some studios are investing in making their own engines when Unreal Engine's one of the best engines out there, I still think. And this Unreal 5 looks even better than before. But you are right, you've got some valid points there, Animated, you have, on that subject.
Thank you.
Either way, is it just me, or does Animated seem pretty quiet in his mic?
He's having those technical issues. Sometimes it bounces backwards to like a small, and then it's loud again.
Yeah, Indie Gamer says that you're bobbing your head round like Stevie Wonder.
Well, I just called to say I'm sorry.
I just called to say.
Yeah, I told you it's karaoke. It started off where we started.
Hopefully that's better.
Yeah?
Yep, that sounds better.
There you go.
Have you got any thoughts on this, Cerebral? Or...
No, he hasn't.
I'm going to be nice today. So far, we'll wait till the other topic comes up. Then I'll go off on Sony.
Okay.
Then I'll talk about Sony. Now, anybody in the chat that doesn't understand, I am not trying to badmouth the company. I'm strictly looking at it from any of this stuff I talk about from a decision point of view. Okay, from a business standpoint, not from a I hate Sony. Okay, Okay, it's not. I'm not trying to bash them or anything. I'm just pointing out how I feel about the decisions I'm seeing them make, good or bad. Same with Xbox or Nintendo or whoever. It's not. I try to very much not be a fanboy. Yes, Xbox is my main thing, Xbox and PC, because that's all I have right now. It's all I can afford. It's all I have access to. So when I'm speaking to this stuff, it's not because I don't like the company, well, for various reasons, but I'm just looking at each individual decision as it comes down the pipe. Is all it is. So
That's fair enough.
that's all I got to say to that right now.
Yeah. Okay. Have you got any thoughts on this removal sanity?
To be honest, I think taking everybody's thoughts in this, I think most of this has pretty much been said. I think it is a wise move. They're obviously hedging their bets ahead. They are smart when it comes into investments, regardless of how the platform is dealing with right now. Sony, as VJ has alluded, they are smart in terms of where to place money in investments. They know what they're potentially getting out. And whilst it may be very well be, as VJ said, it could be a marketing aspect, or as Animated alluded to, it could be even just a mini deal in terms of the software being passed them earlier on. They've done this for a reason, and they've done it purely as a business element. Now, maybe this is future-proofing, as we've alluded to. Maybe this is something that might feed into the next generation, because let's face it, Unreal 4 has been around for how long now? It's been, 8 years? More than that? Is it possibly that? Anyone know the full timeline for Unreal 4 when that came out?
No, I don't. No.
I think it's coming up for it's
Really.
if anyone in chat knows the actual, then please let us know. But I think it's been quite a while. So I reckon they're future-proofing well beyond potentially this platform. I suspect they're future-proofing well ahead. So regardless of how this platform does, I think they're looking further beyond. And again, as you said, Stubbs, why Microsoft hadn't implemented this or made some purchases is a little bit bemusing, but we don't know if they are making purchases or have invested into Epic under a pseudonym.
They can do
Which
that.
some
Yes, they
companies
can.
do.
They can do that. Yeah.
So
Unreal
whilst
Engine
it may not be
4
obvious,
launched in 2014, and Indie Gamers just mentioned it as I've just brought it up on Wikipedia.
well done, thank you very much. So you can tell now that's been over 7 years, 7 to 8 years. Now that potentially could be for the next. I reckon the next platform will happen. Maybe 3 years down the line. We're looking at almost like a 3 to 4 year turnaround in some cases. So that could be the next two platforms if it speeds up in terms of it. So they've if they are making a deal, they've future-proofed themselves for a long period of time. Regardless, I think it's a very wise decision. As I said, the only thing that bemuses me is why Microsoft hasn't done something similar. But again, we could allude it to be they're making a purchase under a pseudonym, which no one except for certain people know about.
It does happen. They can even if you're a company with a lot of money, it would be wise to invest in Epic Games because they make a lot of money, and they seem to keep going up and up and up. They do, but it might be that Microsoft just likes to buy companies, not invest little bits in it. I don't know, but as you name it, could be under a different name. You don't know, do you?
We're just the plebs, aren't we? Looking up at the big players and trying to work out what these movements are by looking at the current that they've left behind. It's we're guessing until it's been mentioned. We don't know, but
exactly
that's what I'm guessing at.
Oh, good points, Removable. So, did anyone get a chance to check out the incredible show that was early on? It was roughly 20 minutes. It was a Nintendo-based show called Indie World. anyone get a chance to check that out earlier on, as the fine indie gamer was live streaming his show on his channel. Very good stream, Indie.
I did not. I was streaming and also doing some PC upgrade during that time. I forgot all about it actually. So
I got to see it, Mr. Stubbs.
Nice. It was a good.
I saw it.
I think it was a masterclass in how Xbox should have been watching it. That's how you do pacing. It was nice.
Yeah,
it's nice. Good games.
Blame that on Twitch. Don't blame that. Yeah.
So sorry, does I think Animated Evil said he watches, so I can go off. No problem.
Did you catch any games that caught your eye? Because obviously some of these games, they will eventually come to other consoles. Some of them were multi-plats as well, so although it was a Nintendo, and a lot of these games will be coming to Xbox, PlayStation, etc. Did any games catch your eyes? Then animated.
Yes. If you caught the other two indie shows in the previous few weeks, you'll see a lot of reused footage or reused games, shall we say, with a little more oomph to them. What I come out of that is game wise is that I need Art of Rally even more, because I saw more of it. It just looked
yes.
That game is me. I'm going to sink so much time into that. I really am.
Oh, that looks nice, that does. Yeah. I'll just point out, before Indy does in chat, when his live stream started, he called it. He said, Art of Rally is going to be in this stream. And he was right. So, There you go. Carry on.
So that's the one game. The couple of others where, we saw them previous. I'm not really a Nintendo fan anyway, but a couple of them were good.
We've lost you, Animated.
His microphone may have gone wrong.
I can chime in.
Yeah, if you want to jump.
Does Paul or Removable want to go first before me?
They didn't watch it.
I don't have anything to speak to. I didn't see it. So.
I mean, it's always nice, right? When a showcase comes up, whether it's Xbox or Sony or Nintendo, it's always good to have a look, see what's coming up, and whenever I seem to watch these indie showcases, I always seem to align myself with whatever Annapurna Interactive are supporting or funding or have to offer from a variety of or types of different developers that they support, and they seem to support developers across countries, age groups, experiences, and different backgrounds or unique backgrounds. So I think for me, last stop and hindsight for the games I was watching. And I guess I'm looking forward to. And I know that these games weren't on the showcase, Stray and 12 Minutes, but they're obviously, again, both Annapurna games. And hopefully that they will come to the Switch at some point. And finally, who doesn't want to play Ninja Turtles after that disappointing Battletoads? And I tried to have a look online. It wasn't really clear. I hope it's online multiplayer, unlike its aforementioned poor debilitated cousin. Those two stood out for me more so than anything else. But Stubbs-san, you know me all too well that I can't not mention Team Cherry.
Oh, I knew.
And I kind of didn't think it would be there, and I was at the same time I was hoping it would be there. And I know that the indie gamer no doubt was probably keeping a keen eye out for it, just hoping to catch it on a live stream, an impromptu live stream. But what happened then is that I wasn't disappointed in the fact that it wasn't shown. What it seems to me like, and then I try to look at the game, the success it had, the studio itself, and some of the interviews that I've watched. And it seems to me that the studio and the sequel to Hollow Knight no longer want to be recognized or perhaps categorized as an indie developer. And this is just me. I'm just a pure supposition. I have no bloody clue, really. And I think that this particular studio, in terms of Team Cherry, want to be perceived as a major studio in its own right while retaining their independence, perhaps something similar to Gearbox before being acquired. I'm not saying that they want to be acquired, but they want to have status. That status is, I think, is important, because after playing like nearly over 40 odd hours of Hollow Knight and watching countless videos after playing the game, Team Cherry is a real creative powerhouse, in my opinion. And I know that they've got a couple of games in development, either in conceptual stage or in actual development. And from what I've ascertained, is that their Hollow Knight IP has been coveted by dozens of major production companies or media companies, let alone licensees wanting to produce consumer products for them. And licenses can go up to 400 or 500. It's pretty common. But I mean, look, I could be wrong. These are just my thoughts and ideas on how Team Cherry and other studios will progress and become. I think we'll see how can I put it, a different breed of developer and potential players in the future, filling in the gaps and spaces left by those that have been or are in the midst of being acquired. And we know that Microsoft have acquired plenty of studios, and they have Idea Xbox to identify new and upcoming studios. So, I mean, the proverbial wheel keeps on turning, right? And I know it wasn't on show today, but I was expecting to be there. But because I'm on your show today, I thought I'd at least spend 75% of my indie game previews focused on this game, even though it wasn't there. No, thank you very much.
I know. I mean, Indy said he definitely disagrees with you. They are keen to maintain what they are. I think what you meant, VJ, is they deserve to be more on with that game. I think that Silk Song deserves to be. I think it would be on E3's main stage.
Yeah, I don't know what the indie gamer disagrees with. So that would be something I'd have to have a chat with him about. I think they want to retain their independence, but I definitely think they want to come out of the shadow of being an indie developer in terms of, hey, it's low budget, but we can produce magic. I think they want to be. I mean, if any developers,
you want to be recognised beyond the title of just indie developer. They wish to be whilst maintaining the actual staff, maintaining the structure, maintaining the aspect of the core fundamentals, but they want maybe the title to be a little bit beyond. Is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly. They don't want to be one in a sea of 2,000 indie developers that have released games over the 7 years. I think they want to be a standalone independent company in their own right, and ascending or transcending the notion of just being an indie developer. And I think you're right. I think there is a chance. And again, this is just blue sky thinking. It's a complete moonshot. I'm not saying these are facts or any shape, way, or form. I'm just saying that looking at the guys that are running that, again, they didn't just come out of college and make a game. They've all had serious backgrounds in media programming and animation and run other companies before. But that's why I don't know if it was the right developer that I chose in terms of Gearbox, but you can kind of, maybe there is a better example out there, but you can kind of get an idea of what I'm getting at. And thanks for the assist.
Well, the murder session just says look at Ninja Theory.
Yeah, but Indie Gamers said they could have easily expanded massively from their success of Hollow Knight, but they have maintained a small team.
Yeah, but it's not about the size of the team either. Yeah, it's not about.
I think it's beyond. It's the recognition. Maybe that's what it's the wording. It is the recognition rather than the actual core fundamentals.
They don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't think they want to transcend the pigeonhole that they're right in, or that we put indie gamers in. If that makes sense.
I mean, we don't know. You'd have to ask them directly. But as you said, it's a guess, isn't it? From what you're seeing in terms of,
I tried to caveat it like 36 times throughout my commentary, but no one's picking up on that. Okay, I'll shut up now. Thanks.
But I can see your excitement.
Before you dive in, VJ, when you started talking about the Ninja Turtles, is that Shredder's Revenge?
I can't remember what it was called.
Shredder's Revenge, the Turtles game. Yeah, Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
It looks incredible.
Okay. It does.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of posts on that in the last couple hours.
Yeah, I was very, very happy when I saw that. I was like, oh. Yeah, it kind of has it. It still remains. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird. Its core essence, and almost 1980s cartoon style. You know what? It reminds me of my childhood. How bad is that? It reminds me of like a Sunday morning cartoon that you always used to get up and watch and just was happy to enjoy. And I must admit, it brought a smile on my face when I saw it.
It looks better than Streets of Rage.
Did you say Sunday morning cartoon? You guys are weird. We watched ours on Saturday.
Well, I think we got a couple. We had Saturday morning was the major one, but we also had the odd occasional Sunday mornings. I think it's at the time.
And there was 5 channels,
back in the day.
weren't there?
Yeah, that's what I say. There wasn't many channels
for
back
us
in
on
our
Sunday-
day.
Or was
For
the
us on-
3 channels for you?
Yeah, for us on Sundays, most of those 3 to 5 channels was talking about Jesus and finding the Lord, and stuff like that. So
Oh God, the joys. But I must admit, I saw that and I was like very happy. I must admit, I missed the show. I was still working till, as I said, to about 20 minutes before I joined this podcast. So I kind of missed it, and I'll be going back to watch Indy's coverage. But I did spot some highlights of some trailers, and one that did catch my eye, which I'm surprised no one's talking about, is House of the Dead. I think it's a remaster or remake of House of the Dead, and I was like, how is no one talking about that?
I was never a fan of it. That's my problem. I'd seen it and I thought, whoa, so what? It's probably good, you know.
It just, again, it's like Virtua Cop. It brings back a nostalgia that I guess for me, I spent ages on the Virtua Cop in the arcades, and when it became part of the platform, or actually when it became part of one of the platforms, I bought the light gun and I used to spend hours playing at home. I've still got the actual light gun, in fact, somewhere in the loft, the Virtua Cop gun. It was, again, House of the Dead was a pretty much a almost buy for me after playing that. So yeah, I'm looking. Actually, that's one thing I'd like to see. I'd like to see more of those sort of games. I know it's an arcade title, but bring it on.
Yeah, no, it looks good. It's that was one of my highlights of the show, even though I had seen it before. It was good to see. I don't know if the trailer was the same or whether it's a little bit more extended. Because they showed you playing it after as well.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more extended. But that's, again, it's something I caught in a very quick time frame I had to try and do some research for this podcast. And I was like, oh, quick! And I did spot it. I did notice that. But those are the only 2 things. I said I missed it, so I'll be going back and catching up on Indy's show later on tonight. Or tomorrow morning, depending on how we finish. Yeah.
Animated Evil, is your microphone working?
Yes, I hope so.
VJ covered for you.
He sounds a little quiet. He sounds like he's an NPR, announcer. And
I can only apologise, Paul. I can only apologise.
It's
really, really weird. I don't even know why it's doing.
I have a lot of problems, don't worry. With my microphone.
You know what's going to happen, yeah? He's getting all the problems out on this show, so that when it happens on Sunday, it'll be perfect.
Yes, that's what he's doing. Yes, he's ironing out the kinks before the Flemish
He's ironing out the
experience.
kinks for the real show. Yeah, the real show.
I'm on something else before that. It's fine.
So,
and Four Guys. I know. Sorry. What's it called now? They've changed the name, haven't they?
4GQTV.
That's it. 4G. I've still got to learn. I've got to get it out of my head. I'm so used to saying 4 Guys with Quarters. That's the problem. I am. I've got to get it out of my head. It's ingrained in the brain, you see. But it's not a massive change for the name. It ain't.
But there's a lot more than 4 of us, and it's not just guys anymore. So
I know. That's the main premise around it. Welcome, Pong Soul, Assassin Looper. I'm not sure if I shouted you out yet, but if I haven't, welcome, Pong. You said you had a little list of games you've seen from the 20-minute showcase?
Not so much really. The Art of Rally. What I was going to say was, before VJ, I'm sure he was spectacular in taking over. After seeing more gameplay today, if it was only going to come out on the Switch, I would possibly buy a Switch for that. However, I could possibly play it on my PC, so that's not a problem. And it's coming to Xbox, which is even better. So, but other than that, game-wise, no. I thought the show itself was, as you eloquently put it, how you do a show. The fact that you do a little bit of developer chat, some gameplay, an explanation, the release date, and then job done.
Exactly.
That's how it should. That's exactly how it kept me.
It was like it was a very punchy sort of show. It sounds like it
was.
really it knew what information the public wanted, and it wasn't
Yes.
messing around. It was, here's the public, here's the stuff you need to know, here's when it's going to come out, here's some great talk about it, and also here's the trailer. Next.
I mean, a couple of those even said, "Oh yeah, it's released in June." It's like, really, that quick? And then one of them it releases after this, and then there was another one that said
Shadow Drops. Yeah,
and then there's there's a demo after this. So
that's what you should do, without a doubt. Yeah, that's what I said they should do. And I'm hoping E3 will be stuff like that.
Yeah, because Phil will go, boom, go play Halo multiplayer.
I was more impressed with the layout of the show. I really was.
No, it sounds. Well, I said I can't comment on it, but from the enthusiasm I'm getting from everybody who has watched it, including Indy, it sounds like it was well thought out and spot on. So I'm looking forward to watching it.
Good.
But you should probably move on to another topic.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I just want to point out first, I like the Last Stop Game Boy, because whenever someone says, "For the people that made What Remains of Edith Finch," my ears perked up.
Yeah.
The last stop looked very good. It really did. That's a game I want to check out. Also, Hindsight, I want to check that one out. Did any of you see this interesting game? I don't know how many people would actually play it. I'll just get down my list. Let's find
Road 66?
No,
Or is
it's this game. This one guy made, I believe, and to actually complete the game, you have to play it for 400 days, and it's got a counter. And until you play it for real time 400 days, it doesn't unlock. And I wonder how many people will actually bother with that game. I mean,
wow.
What unlocks?
The premise, the end game unlocks. You have to do it 400 days worth, and it's got a counter. Don't get me wrong, the artwork and that looks good, and the game looks great.
When you say that, do you mean 400 days like played,
yes,
or 400 days in-game time?
400 days played and in-game time. It's got a clock.
Oh, no,
because they actually said you don't have to play it all. So I think it's going to count down anyway, whether you're on it or not. So if you play it one day and go back to 100 days later, you've lost 100 days.
Oh, wait a minute. As soon as you start the game inevitably counts down to 400 days, even when you stop playing Alt and X.
Yep.
Ah, right, okay.
Oh, thank
God.
People are going to play it then.
Actually, that's
Ignore what I just said. Ignore what I just said.
It's scaring the hell of the thing. So
yeah, that's it, Indy. Yeah, I'm wrong. That's good, that is. Yeah. So basically, you could start the game and come a year later, come back and turn and put it back in.
Well, let's face it, it's a very clever longevity catch.
Yeah, it is. It does look an interesting game, though. It's very different. I've never heard of that concept before.
Band of Brothers did an achievement that happened, which you can only do it on one particular day. I think it was a leap year. You had to play the game on that particular day.
There are some days that you have to play on a very specific day, on a holiday or whatever.
Yeah, and that was the only way you could actually unlock it.
I think that kind of idea is really cool, except I never remember to do it on those days.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, crap, there was one for St. Patrick's Day, and that was last week. Crap.
Did any of you guys catch the Oxygen Free 2 announcement? Right at the end when they actually tricked people into thinking the show had ended, and then he's like, "No, there's got to be one more," and they went, and then it cut into the video. See, I've never played the original one, so it doesn't. But a lot of people on the panel on Indie Gamers Show had played the original, so then they could tell exactly what it was, and if it wasn't, it was a copycat of it. That looked nice. I just wanted to pick a few. That was all. And that Ollie game looks good as well.
Not oxygen free, as Indy was saying.
I was going to say what the
oxen free then.
Oxen free, as in Ollie oxen free for us all people who know.
I was saying oxygen free. I don't think I've ever heard of that game before. And then everyone else saw it was oxygen.
Well, indie developers out there.
Yeah.
Name your game Oxygen Free.
Yeah.
There's a name for you.
You could do that under the sea. Undersea horror. Oxygen free. There you go.
Oxygen free. Either that or you're a killer that likes to smother people. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So I've got a bit of a topic here. It's to do with the PS5, and I know that Cerebral is clambering for this topic.
Nah,
He's
I know
got
nothing
so
about
much.
it. No, not a word about
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Wait, the PS5 storage expansion and memory management. The PS5 games on compatible external USB drives. With this feature, you can now transfer your PS5 games to a USB extended storage from your console's internal storage. It's a great way to extend the storage capabilities on your PS5 console. You can seamlessly copy your PS5 games back to your console's internal storage when you're ready to play. It is faster to reinstall PS5 games from the USB. There's quite a lot on that, but is there like a limit on what you can have? Can you have like 10 terabyte?
It's 8 terabytes.
Oh, it's 8 terabytes.
Well, that was the picture you showed us in the thing. I'm sure it said 8 terabytes.
Yeah.
But because PS5 games are designed to take advantage of the console's ultra high speed SSD, PS5 games can't be played from the USB external.
A bit like the Xbox.
It's a bit like the Xbox, that is.
Yeah.
For the newer games, yeah. For the newer games.
You can't even download it to the.
You guys are more
external.
technical than me on the subject.
That was
I know
my
you are.
biggest issue.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Hang on.
even
Say
if
that again, please.
you can't download it to the external drive,
No.
Really?
Wow.
No.
you
You
have
have to
to
download it to your
you have
internal.
to install
then
it to
move
the internal
well,
drive,
that's a load of,
which
that,
means
that's,
you always have to, even if you're not planning on keeping that game on the internal drive at the time, in order to install it, you've got to have that space available anyway. Think about that. So you're going to do a lot of shuffling. Oh, I want this new game, but I got to move something off of the internal drive so that I can download this new game, so then I can move it and put the other game back on the... No, that's just... No, sorry. No.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with that. You should be able to download it to the hard drive and then move it over. It's quite that makes life easy, you know.
Yep.
That means you basically, for some games, you've got to empty your internal drive over to your other drive and then download it to your main drive, then do a lot of swapping, which might take a few hours. A lot of hours. Yeah.
Especially given that the limitation on the internal drive space on the PS5, more so than the Series X.
Plus, they haven't sorted out their second drive yet that you can add. Have they?
Yeah,
Yet.
they still have no ability to add their own second drive, and it's been almost 6 months. Like I said,
I can only assume that a lot of a lot of PlayStation players were not happy by this news.
But you wouldn't know it by watching the feeds. You know, they all,
They don't voice their opinion, really.
Yeah.
Well, external hard drive is a good thing to have, regardless. But
it's
not
a really
being able
clunky
to
way to
just put it. Yeah, it's a very clunky situation to have. I mean, it's as you said, it's a long process, a very long process, and we don't know. I mean, and I'm going to kind of bat for Sony here and PlayStation, so don't kill me. This could be the first step, and it could be it more likely be streamlined and trimmed down than alternative method coming along the line. But maybe what they're doing now, this is like 1.1 of how you get your games downloaded to your external hard drive. Patch 1.4, maybe that'll circumvent that, and they'll navigate that, and they'll be able to divert it back into.
But my biggest issue is, and as I was saying earlier, this is all stuff that should have been figured out months ago. They shouldn't be playing this half-assed patchy game with their user base. They really shouldn't, And somebody just said in chat, if Xbox would have done this, man, oh man, we would be.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But
Absolutely.
I think, to be honest with you, I think both systems were slightly pushed quickly. There was a COVID impact, and there was probably other.
But to me, this is beyond the COVID impact. This is they were in a hurry to get it out because they thought they had to push against Xbox, and they weren't ready.
Well, which they did. Let's face it, they did. They had to do that. I think. I think there would have been a very bigger backlash. Maybe it's the same thing. If you rush something out quickly, yes, you get ahead a little bit, but the knock-on effect of all these problems comes knocking at your door throughout the year later.
This is the equivalent of this is the hardware equivalent of Cyberpunk. It wasn't ready to be released. It shouldn't have been released. They knew it wasn't ready to be released, but they said, "Well, we'll fix it later." Which is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think both platforms have had a little bit of that. Maybe Sony's a little bit more of an issue.
Boy, your term of "little bit more" is a lot different than mine at this point.
I'm trying to be as I guess I'm going to be the Sony fanboy today. You can classify me as that. I'm going to try and be the one.
There was a feature here. There was another feature that I think is interesting. Cross-generation share play. PS4 and PS5 players can now share play together while chatting in party. This means PS5 console users can let their friends on the PS4 consoles view their game screen or even try out the PS5 games through SharePlay and vice versa. Options include
is that streaming?
Ability to share your screen with a friend and pass your controller virtually to a friend, or pass a second controller. That's pretty cool. To be fair,
and in our little private chat, I said that was one thing where they beat Xbox. I wish we could do that.
The funny thing is, though, that was actually a mixer, but the different ability you could let the viewer play the game over. Yeah. So
it was actually.
I'm not saying it's the same technology. But
no, it was touted as an accessibility option. So they said if you found a level or an area was too hard, you could pass it to one of your viewers and they could do it for you.
Yep.
So it was actually a great little accessibility feature, which kind of went the way of the dodo, which was a shame.
Yeah, and that's actually something that has come up and has continued to come up. Hopefully, they're going to do something about it.
Bring that back in. Well, that'd be nice. Yeah, I think it's a very good thing. But yeah, definitely that sounds like a fantastic little tool. But it sounds like, again, this is all depends on your internet and on your data usage.
Yeah, it will.
So if you've got for you to do that and pass it over to someone virtually, you're going to have a very good connection with that person.
Well, even with Mixer, they found out that a friend of mine over here, one of the Xbox community managers, was trying to do it with Sightless Combat, and because he was in Seattle and Sightless was in the UK, the lag issue becomes very real.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I was about to say that you're going to end up having a very. So it's great for maybe your mate, 2 hours down the road.
I tried this, I was some stream in America when Mixer was still about. And he let me take over his controller for Crash Bandicoot. Needless to say, the lag was atrocious. And I kept dying and falling down the hole because obviously I'm in the UK and I was taking over the controller for an American streamer. So it didn't go too well, but it was pretty cool to try it. It didn't work very well because if he was in the UK, it would have worked probably fine. But it was cool to try it, It was. Have you got any opinions on this, VJ?
Yeah, I guess I do. But listening to everyone's comments, I think a viewpoint. I was just saying, Removable Sanity said, I'll be the Sony fanboy today or the Sony apologist. The point is for all of us, a viewpoint is from the band of frequency you see something from, right? And we all see things from different angles, right? And again, that's through your own personal how can I put it, lived experience and sensibilities at any given moment in time, and that in itself is evolving and a personal truth. And look, I'm not a very technical person. I don't have a PlayStation 5 or anything like that, but people may perhaps complain it's less than ideal than a complete SSD internal expansion solution, which should be there. However, I would rather wait, as removable would always be partial to, is wait until Sony are happy with their solution rather than rush it, which, as Paul has said, there's some things there that fundamentally should have been there regardless of the COVID. And I have to kind of agree with him as well. So I think that both systems are new and that the internal storage is limited. And I wish we could have bought a 2 terabyte system, perhaps in the future, a reasonable price. Will that ever happen? I don't know, but that would be great. But these sorts of updates, especially in the beginning of the life cycle of a hardware system, are very carefully curated and optimized to utilize, let's say, seemingly take up a small part of what's available, right? And hence, I think it's on purpose, and it's not by design, and it's probably by design why it's only 876 megabyte update. I think it's on purpose not to go over the 1 gigabyte mark. At the moment, for commercial and projective consumer outlet reasons, because imagine if it was 1.5 gig, right? I think people would definitely be raising eyebrows to it. I can understand Paul's hesitation and his outlook to commit to Sony or respect what they're doing, let alone buy into them, and that's absolutely fine. I have zero quarrel with his opinion. It actually helps to kick the tires of my own thoughts, right, in terms of how I see things. And regardless of the topsy-turvy perception people have garnered while observing Sony over the last couple of weeks or months or whatever it is, I lose track of time, I'm getting too old. You still have to retain, I would say, a discerning eye. I don't know if that's the right word. And mine is obviously, again, from a business perspective, predominantly a creative perspective. And you can understand to a degree why Sony, don't want to relinquish the tactics that have made them so successful. But as Paul politely alludes to, you have to be able to adopt your principles to a degree. If the sum of all of your parts in terms of what Xbox and Game Pass are doing is far greater. And I think that's something that a lot of people are, not a lot, but some people at least, because Twitter is not all encompassing, right? It doesn't speak for 200 million console owners.
No, it doesn't. Right.
And we can complain and moan what we do or don't like, appreciate, or clearly feel allergic to in some cases. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the games and how they engage your imagination, regardless of anything else that you feel is an obstacle in enjoying a said experience. Again, I know Sony at the moment, I'm not persuading our subconsciousness while we sleep to have more wet dreams than, say, Adrian Mole, but some of the mentally impotent and irrelevant commentary I hear and read, and even from people that are supposed to be informed and intelligent, is quite horrible. It
is quite tiring on Twitter recently.
It's negativity, especially when I see negativity towards Jim Ryan, even in jest. I find it quite appalling. It's not what we aspire to be as human beings, I would say. So why is it right? Because you wouldn't say this stuff to his face, right? But it's important at the end of the day, as I say, let's leave all of that stuff out of it, not to lose track of what's most important, and that's great games. And I think that is what's going to define a really healthy generation more, and rather than the anemic one that we had last year with just one market leader and then with Nintendo entering afterwards. So, those are my points. I don't want to carry on. I'm boring myself at the moment, so God knows how you lot feel.
Never.
Oh, it's all good.
So, that's all from me.
No, you are right. It's
we can't moan about Xbox when people are moaning about Xbox and then turn around and do exactly what we moan about the moaners to PlayStation.
They'll get there in the end. They will, but
valid criticism of both platforms is always appreciated.
Exactly.
Being a dick to any platform isn't.
Well, it isn't suffering because whenever PS5s come in stock, they go out of stock straight away. So people are still buying them regardless. So same with Xbox, and the Series S goes out of stock not as quick. I've noticed that they don't go out of stock very quick
I think,
anymore.
Josh, that's a very underrated system.
But what I think it is I believe that they might have more stock that comes in. Maybe, I don't know.
That's exactly why I've got the S, because it's the only thing available at the time. That's exactly what I'm using. I love it, except for obviously the hard drive space. That's that's difficult.
Well, I suppose
Especially
in a way, you're
Yeah.
in the same boat as the PS5, aren't you?
Yes. The issue is as well, if you've got your auto update on, anything that's S/X enhanced will try and auto update to the newer version, even if you're not going to play it. So it just fills your hard drive straight away.
Does the PlayStation have something similar?
I thought they were working on that so that it would detect that or give you the option to not have it do the updates like that. But maybe that's something that's coming down the pipeline.
I have turned it off so it doesn't auto update, but it's just I would like more storage, and I don't want to pay the same price as the console for a memory expansion.
Yeah.
You want the auto update? What, you had to turn the auto update off. It don't work for a lot of games. It did on the Xbox Series X. It doesn't work. A lot of my games I have to tell to update when it's set to auto update.
You have to make sure you actually like that it's on instant on, and that you actually do at least shut down the Xbox, because if you leave it on, it assumes you're still playing. Is why it does that.
So do you mean? I don't know. What do you mean? Like, as in, let it switch off?
The power setting modes need to be set to instant on, but you need to actually log off the Xbox, power it down, so that it goes into its standby state.
Do you mean so when you leave it after an hour, it turns off like that?
Right.
That.
Not even that. Just when you're done, just shut it. Hit the power button, tell it to shut off the console.
Because I don't. Oh, that's the problem with a lot of people having then. That's not been explained. That's probably it.
That's been the way it works forever. It assumes that if your console is on, you're still actively doing something with it.
Okay, but if it's fell into sleep mode, you're obviously not on it, so it should be able to do it.
And then it's going to try to do the updates. Correct.
Yeah. It's never worked yet for me, so I'll have to try that then.
I have the same problem because I always tend to forget to turn off my Xbox.
Mine turns off; it goes into sleep mode, but I just find that I have to click the update.
I don't do the whole sleep mode thing, because after all the issues that like Windows 10 has had with sleep mode, I don't trust my Xbox.
Fair enough.
Sleep mode correctly. I just no, I don't.
Yeah, I tend to always turn mine off. Just because it's not going to be turned on again for... Well, yeah, it's not going to be turned on again for the next 12, 13 hours after I turn it off, so I know that it can do its thing in the background.
Fair enough.
I think wasn't there something that was actually, was it a quarter of people's electricity is because there's numerous devices in a household that are on standby.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
A quarter of your electricity bill is just devices left on standby. If you turn all that off, you could potentially save something along the lines of, I think, around 100 to 150, at least in the UK. America might be slightly different, but it was almost like 100 to 200 pounds.
Oh no, I noticed a difference. If I actively would make sure everything is fully shut down, TV, screen, monitors, computers, it saves a lot of money.
There you go.
Yep.
Quick tip. Money saving tip.
Exactly. Yeah, it's only more thoughts on this PlayStation 1, or I think we've done it now, haven't we?
You've covered what I had to say, so...
I wanted to say something, but I don't know if it's appropriate.
Say it.
Go for it.
Say it. Yeah. This is the place.
You have to now.
I don't know. I must have been taking some drugs. There's that bottle of wine from yesterday. I've still got hangover, I think. So, I think this has nothing to do with the panel or the chat. It's just why I stay off Twitter and stuff like that. If you're at the end of the day, for me, and look, I'm guilty of it as well, because I say some really foolish stuff sometimes. Honestly, I do. And if you're Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, and love all gaming, you're fine by me. But if you're Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, and an imbecilic fish custard or petulant sort of chap, then you don't represent cordial understanding, decent-mindedness, or a decent citizen. And you're all that's wrong with the joy and pleasure of video games and what it brings to so many, regardless of what your preference is. So yeah, I don't know why that came to me, but that's what's...
No, funny that, VJ, that we had a call, didn't we? And you brought up, what was it? You listened to a podcast where some guy rang in and give someone a load of crap over the phone. Who was it?
So there was an interview with the game director of Bend Studios, in terms of it was a 4-hour interview with David Jaffe, and David Jaffe was just going through the mill, asking questions, searching questions, and so on and so forth. And then he decided to have a call in where people could call in live via Discord and have a conversation and ask questions. And there was people coming on and saying, "Hey, look, I like the game, I didn't like this," or "Hey, I love the game after the patches." And then a gentleman came on and spoke some of the most vile nonsense that I've ever heard on YouTube, calling the guy, I really don't want to repeat the language, but you can imagine, right, the kind of mental impotence somebody has to have, right, to
I'm
call
surprised
the guy.
The actual guy allowed it.
No,
I
David cut the guy off and was very polite.
Oh, right.
And saying, and I guess that's what you call a hater, as a representation of someone being completely mentally impotent. But for me, it's a case of whether you like a game or you don't like it, and you can be critical about it and say it doesn't pang your twang. But for me, what happened the next day, every single media outlet decided to cover the rumors or confirmation or unconfirmation or disconfirmation or whatever the word is about Days Gone 2, and not a single media outlet worth their salt, and I guess none of them are, covered this particular issue about the violent language, I guess I would like to call it, right, that was used, right, by people in the community that are so-called, lovers of video games. I mean, you wouldn't say it to, anyone in your family, your closest friend, or even your enemy. But I can find the clip and post it. But
I think.
But it's
maybe it's a bit. If we give them the power, if you give these, and I think again, this could be more of a minority, very loud.
No, I do, but I think these issues are far more important because it was conflagratory, right? It was like something on fire. There's just very few people out there that I find that adopt a conciliation, and it was something hideous that I hadn't experienced before. But to have the nerve and to have that anger and to have that energy to dial up live and speak like that is just quite remarkable, really, quite shocking.
And to be honest, I'll go again. I'll be the opposite. We don't know if that person who's having some serious issues, has a bad day. I'm not saying what he did was right. We don't know. Again, he could have been absolutely a vile person. What I'm saying, and that's just generally who he is, or he's one of these people where he's had a bad day, or he's had some mental health issues, and he's decided to, for one particular unknown reason, to vent it out on someone.
Yeah, I just think that that just underlines or indicts a failing society, right? And how the powers that be educate, it's their public, right? And it's.
I don't think this is that of the general. I think to be honest, COVID and the lockdowns themselves have I wouldn't try to think of the words. Aggravated to the highest degree people's strongest and raw emotions, and what we're seeing in the last couple of years is potentially the coming from that, the result of that. I think people at this stage, they're kind of frustrated, they're tired, they are in a sense of, almost in some cases, a constant fear, constant battle with themselves, and this hasn't really helped. And I think we've exasperated this situation of people's mental health. I like to think,
just like with social media in general, it gives people an I can't say the word. I've never been able to say the word. They're unknown people, which gives them the freedom to say what they think they should be allowed to say.
Yes.
Things you wouldn't say to somebody's face. You wouldn't sit in an auditorium full of people and tell some game designer that his game is absolute shit. Or maybe some people.
And I think it feeds into the worst characteristics of a human being. Yeah. I don't think I think COVID exasperated that across the globe. I'm not saying it. But
for somebody who's been doing the online thing since 1984, I mean, it's always been there.
I think would you say, Josh? I would say often it's what we call the loud minority.
Right.
So we'd have you have it for radio shows. You'd call them the crazies.
Oh yeah.
You know, people. You get the ring up and you're like, you get some absolute nuts on the phone call. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
I think that it was measured. Okay, and there's nothing divine about somebody, whether they're angry or not, trying to assert their authority, or power or dominion over somebody else by using such sort of violent verbiage. It's beyond, I think, some of the things that you're mentioning, because I think that the Europeans, this is an American call, but I think the Europeans have had it far, far, far worse in terms of lockdown and restrictions compared to what we've had to go through in the States.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest with you, again, it's one of these things. If you look at the social media aspect, you should look at the news. It's been constant fear, isn't it? Let's say it's a constant ramping up because it's helped click. I've seen in the news, it is literally just a constant. And I don't watch the news. This is one of the reasons why I do. But the stuff I have seen is just a constant ramping up and increasing divisiveness, threatening. It's something to try and really push people's emotions over the edge on a regular basis. And I do believe it is going to take the effect of that, the media and the social media aspect, onto our health and our mental health.
Yeah,
is playing its toll.
I mean, look, arrogance sometimes knows no bounds, right? And I wonder when the day will come, when we align ourselves with the right energy and actions, and then I think we'll become a more powerful people as a whole. But you have those that wished and wantingly want to disrupt it, right? And until then, people who feel they are beyond accountability. And we've seen so much of that, especially in the UK, with the racism in football and so on and so forth. It's the accountability, and it's just a case of these guys will never be, or these people will never be brought to account for their misdeeds. And that's fine. We can't police everything and anything, but again, it all goes back to the indictment of the society, and what's in place at the moment isn't really working to acclimatize everybody.
No, I agree, but I guess I'm more of hope. I believe that as a society, we will get through this. We will push on at the end of it. This is a troubled period, which we unfortunately will have to suffer through to get to the more enlightened area, which I believe we are going to get there. It's just going to be bloody hard, and we're going to have to push through it and get our way through it. I would always try, and it's hard. I know it's very hard to try and think the light at the end of the tunnel, even though the light's probably a very small dot at the moment, and just kind of have faith. It's hard to say, but have faith in humanity in general. I know that's hard to say at this time.
I agree with you. I live in the middle of nowhere almost, but the more and more I get some time to myself and sitting in the car or just doing nothing, and it's difficult, especially in the West. When we live in a controlled consumer culture and environment, right? That's been built around us. Very, very difficult. And I'm totally with you in terms of where we need to get to, right? It's just sometimes it looks harder and harder by the day, and I don't know what has to give in order for us to achieve that utopia that you talk of.
I think, to be honest with you, it's one of these things. If you look at every civilization that's it's come before us.
You're not going to start going about the British Empire, are you?
I'm not going to talk about any particular, any particular generation or particular empire. They've struggled through. I would almost say epidemics of social consciousness.
Yeah.
And they've hit points and points and points. And I don't think us as a civilization is going to be any different. We're hitting our struggles now, and then this could be social or economical or even political or ideological. And I think it's going to be one of those things. I almost think it's almost like a recurring, it's like a wave. Every almost 20 to 30 years, there's another thing we kind of get hit over the head with. And we just have to push through it.
And I do agree with your point, removable, and I do take it into consideration when you say, we don't know the plight, misery, or deprivation of others, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of
That's
how
not.
they
Don't get me wrong. That is not excluding them from their responsibility. I'm a very much a believer of personal responsibility as well.
It's not an
No.
excuse, but it is a symptom.
But I am just saying sometimes we forget that there are people out there who are sometimes they lash out because of other elements that are affecting their lives at the moment. I've seen it where someone will lash out and people go, well, that's who they are. It's like, well, no, they're not actually. If you know that person more in depth, that's not who they are. It's just a one-off issue. If it's a regular issue coming up, then yes. But sometimes I've seen it before where someone, for some unknown reason, you don't know where their mind's gone, they will lash out online. And I've spoken to that person in some cases, like, why would you do that? And they're like, don't know why, I just snapped. It just come out of me. And it's nothing like what they are in general. I'm not giving this person a free pass, but I'm just saying sometimes there are other elements that coordinate into this. We are as human beings, we are the most complicated things on the planet. And that's not just biologically, it's mentally as well. Yeah. And we have to... I wouldn't say it's empathetic, but I would say we have to kind of be aware of the fundamental different aspects that feed into our lives generally. Anything from geography to political to ideology, sociology to biology to even religious elements. It's all factors in, and even geography and what's happening, and it all factors in, and sometimes it can just spill over into a bad session. So whilst I believe in that, I think again it's one of these things. I think sometimes we just may need to pause before we dive in with the pitchfork.
Yeah, no, I mean I can only portray exactly what happened, but
exactly. And again, it sounds like either guy was generally a dick, but we don't know the background of that person.
Yeah, I'm trying not to respond with negativity, but obviously, what you talk of in terms of society and governments, everything, it is a plague. But on a more positive note, on back on topic, the director of Days Gone left Sony after about 10 years, and he's actually gone to NetherRealms to be a senior designer and so on and so forth, and he seems much more happier in that role. But yeah. Hopefully,
that's a perfect example. Yeah, no, it's a perfect example of where sometimes it takes you to go through the bad, to come out and see where you sometimes help you decide to go to a different position where you're happier.
I think.
Go on.
I just wanted to say one thing, right? That question that comes to my mind, then, right? And I know we're trying to close off on this because Stubbs is probably sleeping, but what concerns me is why are things like humility, intelligence, maturity, and kindness deteriorating qualities in our society? That's just from my perspective. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think it's a question we definitely need to ask.
I don't think it's deteriorating. I think at this current stage is that the voices that are the loudest aren't the ones we should be amplifying, or aren't the ones that are really being amplified as the general population. I think there's and again, this is just my opinion. I think there's a lot more kindness, empathetic, decency out there. It's just that doesn't fit well with social media.
Before we get
doesn't give you that doesn't the biggest things I see spread often on these elements is bad stuff.
Yeah.
How many times you look at the news and all you hear is fantastic news today, fantastic news today, fantastic news today. No. This is loving. This is great. Very rarely.
Never. No, you don't. And look,
and what does that do to people? So you're all there. Or if you're seeing, what was it saying? There's an old phrase. And again, I apologise for the language here, but it's sometimes the sprinkling of arseholes is more visual, more heard than the wave of goodness.
Yeah, I think that we know that the media targets our flaws and vulnerabilities to the maximum, right? But let's look. I don't want this to become an episode of Panorama on BBC. So
it's a social commentary, and if we don't social commentary, we what about it?
If we're gonna do any show from the BBC, I want to do Have I Got News for You? See, now that's a good show.
Oh God, yes. And do you know there was something similar. What's the one where it's an American show where they've got four people on the panel, and it's very similar to Have I Got News for You, but it was it's a comedy sketch. I can't remember his name.
I was going to go with the one on Channel 4. Whose line is it anyway? More like.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah, but
Yes.
my favorite Have I Got News for You is the episodes they did with Brian Blessed. Okay, I still go back and watch that one. I still go back and watch that.
You like loud people with beards.
Somebody in my circle of friends was actually at that recording and said you only saw like 1/3 of what they actually recorded that night because it just kept going and going and going.
It wouldn't surprise me.
He was having so much fun, and he was,
It really wouldn't. It wouldn't
Yeah, it
surprise
wouldn't
me. There are
surprise
some
me either.
I love everything I see him in when he did, the Blackadder Christmas episode and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything he shows up in is awesome. Oh, because Tushi's not here, by the way, the reason I had to step away is I had to pick up my Mackie D's delivery got here. Yeah, so.
Oh,
Nice.
that's going to annoy Tushy. That is
It
going to
will,
annoy
yeah.
Tushy. Yeah. Oh,
Sounds
now
nice.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Now I'm bloody hungry. That's probably killed the stream, hasn't it?
No,
had
I was
that
gonna-
conversation.
I was gonna ask you. You may have covered it while I was AWOL with some audio issues. I think I've fixed them now. E3, and what do you want to see at it?
We never
we're
got
gonna-
there. We didn't.
Games.
But we can quickly cover it. If we can quickly cover it, we can.
Last stop. Sorry, no pun intended. Yep, carry on.
Yeah. Why not? Go for it. Give us your first. Okay, here we go. A nice quick fire round. Everybody, give us your 5 things you'd like to see at E3. Cerebral, your stop.
I was chewing food. Hey, I want to see an official release date for Starfield. That's my big thing, right there. That's all I care about.
Animated.
Starfield's good. I'd like to see some sort of surprise coming to say this is actually coming out very soon. Something like that. I don't know what from yet. Something we're not expecting. I'd like to see announced that they have got a partnership with Kojima because I think it'll do massive reaches into Japan. And I'd like to see maybe Ubisoft Plays It coming to Xbox as a subscription service. I don't think it'll come to Game Pass. I think it's too big. But just because it's on PC already, why not bring it to Xbox so I can subscribe and play all my Ubisoft games?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, definitely. That sounds good. VJ, what about you?
I can only talk extensively. I can't talk in 5 numbers and stuff. Look, I don't know if we've got time, but look, I've attended many E3s, and maybe it's just today. But what it typically tries to do is 2 things, or maybe it's more than 2 things, but 2 things that come to mind. One is sort of formulate a rhetoric or the art of persuasion, if you like, right? In terms of initiating or eliciting, an emotional, euphoric, chest-beating response by selling you on future promise. That's what it is, right? Secondly, it's a pageant-esque circus, not quite Cirque du Soleil. I really enjoyed that. It's French for Circus of the Sun. However, there is no, for me, especially given last year, there's no sincerity or meaningfulness from what we'll speak to or of E3, and that's something I'm not sort of really looking forward to. The beating heart of the matter is there will be, of course, subjective interpretation of creativity, what's on show and what you love, and hopefully the games themselves and the trailers and stuff, beyond all the sort of graceless, I should say, opulent majesty, for the most part, where people just speak endlessly and just that's what the press want to report on. But everyone on this panel and in the chat and the millions of others that will probably be tuning in are all going to find something that will engage their own individual imaginations. And at some point during the event, we're going to feel or find something to hold on to, look forward to. And that's great, right? And it's not sort of strange to me. I guess it is strange to me that more and more what I see is that there's so much in front of us already that we can't fill our tummies with, that we all kind of defer or look to, future promise constantly to make us feel something or better about ourselves or what the future holds. And I guess I'm kind of still thinking about the topic that we were discussing previously, in terms of that it kind of like shows me that we live in hope, which is not as it always should be from my perspective. But anyway, coming back to Earth, into the earthly matrix, I should say, back from the Twilight Zone. For me personally, via Game Pass, I have plenty to play at this moment. And around the corner is Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I don't think it's in Game Pass. Might be, who knows? Maybe Xbox will bring a surprise on us. And my hope at the moment that is a decent experience, and hopefully somewhere in the realms of between, say, the Yakuza remakes and the remasters, and I'll be a happy bunny. But again, for the millions of others, because I am quite strange, I guess it's roll on E3, and but I'm personally sort of really patient to see what it throws up. And given that so many games are delayed, it's I'd like to use that phrase again, topsy-turvy, higgledy-piggledy year ahead of us. So, yep.
No, it's fair enough. That is a fair enough. So the last and least, Stubbsy Wubbsy, what do you think? You're not getting out of this.
Backgammon.
Just some new games. Yeah, that'd be good to see.
Gears 6.
Yeah.
A DLC for Gears 5.
You won't get any. They're finished. Gears, they're finished with Gears 5. I did, because if you follow Gears history, Gears 4, Gears 5, you should get a Gears trailer this year and Gears 6 released next year.
So do you think that's what you're looking forward to? Or are you a little bit hesitant that may not appear?
No, I don't know, because it depends if they want to go back to the drawing board and make Gears of War relevant again. They might need to spend some more time. I think
trailer doesn't take that much.
Yeah, I know, but yeah. I think they need a few years. Like, they should be given the time that Halo was given. They should be given the funding Halo was given, but sadly, they don't give it to Gears. That's why Gears is the way it is.
We don't know. It may happen.
I'd love to see more High Busters type stuff.
You won't in Gears 5. That's finished. Cycle's finished. As far as I know, Gears 6, I would like to see, obviously, a good campaign and a lot of more story DLC. But they've obviously got they talk about multiple projects within the Gears universe, so that Hypebusters DLC could lead into now, for all we know, that could lead into a game.
Right,
That's what I
because
said, yeah.
not-
You never know.
But not Gears 6.
They had
Well, let's face it.
They had different
Yeah,
battle mechanics in High Busters.
They did the Gears RTS. That's a completely different game.
It is.
With the
Yeah,
law.
Obviously,
like the
Midway
Gears
Monster, thanks for stopping by. The coalition do actually know that Xbox know that the fans want like a Marcus Phoenix collection. They do know. If they can't see it, they're blind, because there's a big petition, there's tweets, that they see this stuff. That could already be in the works, but I believe that's probably by let's think who it is. That's probably by a company called Splash Damage is probably making that. I wouldn't say the coalition would spend their time doing that. Because
But if you'd be happy if that announced that.
If they announced that, I would be definitely happy. That would be good. I'd just like to see something new in new IP. I haven't got much hype for the games that are coming out or E3 this year, but
And that's the thing too.
Yeah.
They'll keep saying more surprises coming.
so new surprises. That's what I'll be after. Some surprises.
Listening to you, Mr. Stubbs, the surprise is that there's no surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't want to say Gears 6, or Gears,
That's why I thought I'd dive in for you.
Yeah, I do think I haven't completed the first one, but I do think you'll see Silk Song at the at E3. I think it's big enough to go to E3. I do. I know it's an independent developer, but you don't see I know I've not completed the first one, but it just impressed me. You don't see millions of views on indie game games, and if you go onto their video, they have got, well, it's probably raised since last time I looked. Last time I looked, they had 1.2 million views. You don't see that traction in indie games. They are, actually, yes, indie, very good point. Edith Finch 2, even though it is impossible, that would be incredible.
See, we knew we could get some positivity out of you, even if we had to drain you dry.
I'm positive. I mean, there'd be a ton of indies at E3. Yeah, hopefully for Indy and VJ and Luke Steele and many others, there is that big announcement of Silksong.
I think you're right. I think just to chime in, because otherwise the indie gamer would crucify me, is that the Silksong trailer on the Nintendo channel has had almost 3.5 million views.
Has it? Nice.
Just on the Nintendo channel, yeah.
Well, that's even more, because on their own homepage, on their own channel, last time I looked, it was 1.2 on their own studio channel, so I bet that's risen. So they have got the traction. I mean, I know they're an independent small studio, but they have got the attention of the media and the fans, because it's, I know I've not completed it, but it looks a beautiful game. They are indie, but I do believe they deserve a big presence at E3, or that's where it will be revealed. I'm not,
the indie gamer has probably got a better clue than me, but I'm assuming that if Nintendo is Nintendo attending, it'll be part of their stand, no doubt.
So on Team Cherry's YouTube, Indie Gamer said it's now at 2.5 million views. Oh. So if you look at what's that, 2.5? And what was it on Nintendo's? You had that?
3.5.
So what are we at now? 5.5 million, something like that?
6 million.
6, that's incredible.
It's almost like you, Mr. Stubbs, giving a discount.
Yeah. But no, it's I do hope it's unveiled, because I know the
good thing you're not running Arkwright store.
Yes, you're right. No, I wouldn't.
With E3, I think there's going to be a lot of disappointment if there's no gameplay shown with the games we've already seen.
I agree with you.
They need to provide some gameplay of the stuff we've seen. Otherwise, they're going to get slated, no matter what the show.
And I think you should have a chat with Boxenberg, Archimedes, because he just echoes the exact same sentiment on a weekly, if not monthly basis.
E3 for Xbox gamers generally over the years has led to disappointment. It often does, because and the biggest quote is, wait till next E3.
Wait till E3,
Hopefully it's a good one,
I guess for me, I would just be happy with demos. I would like some demos of the games that we could potentially play, and some gameplay trailers. The demos and gameplay trailers. I don't care what games they are, just some demos and gameplay trailers that I can try out and kind of look forward to. As I'm a bit like VJ, I'm up to my eyeballs in games as it is. But it's always nice to have something in to look forward to. But some nice demos to play and some gameplay to see. I'll be a happy bunny.
But
I'm a simple man.
But speaking to what Paul mentioned at the beginning of the chat, the show, when he mentioned that he was engaging himself with Hellblade: Senua's Saga, and it's been quite a long time since we've seen anything on that game. So hopefully they can show some more at E3, and perhaps they will, perhaps they won't. I don't know, but it'd be nice to see some more on that.
Well, to be honest with you, it's a weird one, because their actual office is literally about 25 minutes from my house.
Pay them a visit.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think me standing outside their window, staring lovingly into their office day in day out, is going to be a good thing.
I just wanted to just read out what the Indie Gamer said. He's saying, Silksong was shown in the E3 Nintendo Treehouse, and it was in the Nintendo area of EGX 2019 when he went. So it's super likely it will be shown at Nintendo. and the theory of perhaps a June or July release, it could happen, and I hope so.
He wants to make it clear.
Obviously it's ready.
Our theory, meaning you and Indy, think it's coming out in June.
Yeah, but
or unveiled in June.
I think it should be probably out sometime after June, or at June or after June. Yeah, we both arrived at it from different perspectives and different angles and based on different information. But that's what we're calling it.
You wouldn't think they wouldn't shadow drop a game like Silksong, would they, and say it's out?
Why not?
It just depends what Nintendo has. Yeah.
They like to do it. Look at this. It's out next week. They like to do it.
Well,
And do you think? I can guarantee now, if they did that, look at what the press would go nuts for it.
oh,
The
they
hype
would
for
have
that.
made
If
it.
you said it's out next week,
That would be
That would
probably
be-
be the game of the month.
Even
sort of
Indy, Indy
that's
does
what I'm
agree.
saying.
News-wise.
He agrees
Yeah,
as well. They could
news-wise.
do that.
I'd have to book out the whole week to be on podcast with the Indie Gamer.
Yeah, you and
You're
Indy
telling
would be
me-
doing a tour around all the podcasts.
you'd be doing a podcast instead of playing it.
You'd have to do a podcast dedicated to it soon. You're gonna have to sort this out,
Podcast
Indy.
streaming it.
While
Hollow Knight podcast.
While streaming it.
Yeah, while streaming. That would be the only way you could do it.
The only thing you'll be seeing me do is die over and over again.
But no,
It
you're
doesn't
really,
matter.
you're-
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you and Indy could talk about it, and they can watch me die over and over again. That game,
Yeah. It doesn't matter who's dying. It's just
No, but it's
no,
funnier
I'm-
if I'm doing it because I'm expecting to do it. So you know.
See, Indy says he's up for it. There you go.
There you go.
You heard it
You're
first.
up for
First, we'll book something up. You know. We're doing all first this show, aren't we? We really are doing
Yeah.
first. We're
Just
setting
wanna let-
things up.
I just want to let the Indie Gamer know that Hollow Knight was in no way, shape, or form part of the show. I've just infiltrated the show with that specific title on his behalf.
I reckon he's got a buzzer, and Indy's pressing it, going, "Say Hollow Knight, say Hollow Knight."
But no, it's been a Luke's coming too. He's in the works.
See, there you go.
But no, it's
official.
it's official now. VJ, I applaud you on that. Indy
What's
said.
that?
He applauds you.
The beer will do. Maybe some vouchers.
But no, it's been a good show tonight. I know we never got to our new section, but it's been a good show. Next week we'll try and get to questions
We'll
from
do it
chat.
first, maybe. Maybe we'll do that first. That'll be a
People
good
stop
idea.
want to stop bringing news out. Just give it a break.
So
Never
y'all
get
have a
that.
week to come up with good questions to ask us. Good questions.
In
Not
chat.
questions
Yeah,
about,
not what
you know,
not what colour underwear does Cerebral Paul wear, and I can tell you now, it's nude.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. There's no color involved. It's just there.
It's just commando.
So, Cerebral Paul, thanks for coming on. And can you tell us where people can find you?
You can find me at Twitter at Cerebral Paul 1, Twitch at Cerebral Paul, YouTube at some conglomerate of a URL, which I'm trying to get taken care of. So if you're not already subscribed to me on YouTube, please do so. But because it's hard if you do a search for Cerebral Paul, a lot of stuff for Cerebral Palsy comes up. So
If you send me the link,
go to my Twitter. Go to my Twitter.
if you send me the link, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll drop it in the description, and I'll drop it in all future shows as well. I will
That'll work. Yeah.
make it easier.
And then you can find me on Sundays on the Flem Experience. Saturdays, I usually pop in and do at least part of the community game night, the UK side and the US side, depending on how I'm feeling and what I'm doing. And then, of course, every Wednesday here on the Stubbs Cast on Midweek Gaming. And there are some big changes with me coming up, so please keep an eye out. And it'll be fun and exciting changes that are coming up. There you go.
Thanks, Paul, for coming on once again. It's been fun, it has. And Removable Sanity, thanks for joining us this week. You tell people where they can find you if they want to find you.
I appreciate even being allowed to speak. You know, I'm always grateful for anyone letting me talk as I love to do so. For those who wish to have a chat with me, or even just get see what I do, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, here, Xbox under the name Removable Sanity.
Thanks for coming on. And the same to Animated Evil, thanks for coming on tonight. It was good to have you back on. I know you couldn't make it last week, but I'm pleased you're here this week. You tell people where they can find you as well?
Yeah, happy to be back. Thank you for having me yet again. You can find me... I should practice this. You can find me here
everywhere
every Wednesday on Midweek Gaming. You can find me over on the 4GQ channel, usually Tuesdays, but some other things as well. Every Sunday on the Flemish Experience with Cerebral Paul. Fridays and Saturdays, I have the pleasure of co-hosting the Community Game Night with Mr. Tushi. Obviously, find us there.
What is happening for Friday and Saturday? Do you know yet?
I haven't spoken to him. Unfortunately, our work schedules have been sort of working against us this week.
Right. So keep an eye on Twitter if you want to find out.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. So on everything like that, though, you can find me at animated_evil on Twitter and animatedevil857 on Xbox.
Sounds good. You're a very busy man, you are.
Yes.
You know how if you wanted to try and make that a little bit easier for yourself, Animated, you could just do that you pre-record that little section and make it on your soundboard. Then you can just press the button.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, maybe.
Exactly.
When Stubbs goes, what's it? You go, click. There you go.
There you go. VJ, thanks for coming on again. Where can people find you? I know you're not big on that. You're telling people you're not.
It's just as the murder sessions. I thought he said I was a Buddhist, and when I checked his message, he said, "Are you a Buddhist?" And I have no bloody clue. I'm not really sure, Mr. Stubbs. Will I be invited on next week's show? You're
invited every week. I've always said that.
Yeah, because my mind wanders off, as you know, so it's a risk bringing me back.
Well, what you guys don't realise is me and VJ call each other a lot, and if you could record these conversations, there'd be podcast alone. There would be.
Oh, dear.
Like our podcast. Tea are we having?
No, it's not. No.
I'll try to come on.
BJ, you and I are the only ones with common sense on this show. You got it.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But, I mean, I'll try to come on next week's Stubb Sand, but obviously the BBC might have me and Removable Sanity booked up for Panorama or Newsnight.
Yeah, it might do, yeah.
We'll solve the world.
No, thank you so much for inviting me on back on Stubb Sand. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And also, people, please join the Indie Gamers Discord, especially my panel. Because Indie Game was wondering why the panel hasn't joined his Discord server yet. And anyone else who wants to join Indie Gamer's great Discord server where we talk about indie games, it's a great little server.
Hey, I'm on there.
Yeah,
Have I already done it? I thought I'd already been here.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure I've
Also,
done it.
As soon as I boot Discord up, I will do.
I don't know the lineup, but the Indie Gamer has a podcast this Saturday at 8 p.m. UK time. I don't know what time that is in America, but it's this Saturday. I don't know the lineup, but it's always a good chat about indie games. It is.
You're not being very helpful here. You're supposed to
3 p.m. EST.
3 p.m. EST then.
Sometime round here on this particular day. Just
See, Indy knows. Indy said I'm already in the server. See, so don't be guilt tripping me.
Yeah. So that's 3 p.m. EST then. Sorry about that. I don't know the lineup, but it's guaranteed to be a good show. It is. Because I can see it on his channel. Where I'm looking at his channel, I can see it's scheduled. I can.
I have to ask you a question. I don't know the murder sessions, but he says you speak like a Buddhist monk I used to chill with. And I don't know whether it's a joke.
No, he's a friend of mine. He's from Scotland.
Oh, okay.
His the name you know him by, or you might know him by on if you ever watch my Twitter, is Sandy the Hippie.
Oh, right. I don't know if he was being serious or having.
I know Sandy the Hippie.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I do.
He's goofing.
He reckons he's not joking, but
he's
you
not.
don't.
He wants to know if you're actually, because your attitude, I guess you're coming across like a Buddhist kind of. Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to shave my head and wear beads and start eating
well, you know,
leaves of the tree.
It's all about
Don't
the
set yourself
it's
on
all about
fire.
the robes, VJ. It's all about the robes.
But yeah, anyway, thank you for coming, everyone. Thanks, Murder Sessions, Indie Gamer, Telegonic, VJ, Masuku, Assassin Looper. Let's go up a bit more. Infinite, Psychonauts. Let's go up a bit more. Cerebral Paul. You all do. If you're in chat, you're going to get mentioned, regardless. Let's have a look. I'm going to chat. Indie Gamer, Shizno, Animated Evil. You've all been in chat.
Yep.
Fun
Mama
Speculation, Mav, Mama Rocks, Mr. Keeman, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. I've seen the subscription. Who else? I've lost my script now. That's as far as I can go up now. So thanks, yeah, because I look at it on within StreamYard, and it only goes up so far. Then you don't see it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it
So-
cuts itself out after about, was it 50 or something like that?
Yeah, but it's been a good one, everyone. Thanks for stopping by and joining the chat. And remember, if you want to come by next week, same time, have them questions ready because we will. I think we might just go into the questions straight away and end with a couple of topics. But remember, gaming-related questions.
Aww.
But it depends what questions we get. We could answer them, you know. But thanks for stopping by, everyone. And I will see you all soon.
Have a good one.